Welcome to the first episode of Sports Shack. We're basically a brand that is now encompassing the focus on all sports across all generations and all sectors. On the right-hand side of me, I have Mo, who's going to be joining me in interviewing this lovely gentleman on the right, Devin from Nature's Relief, who's brought along these amazing products. And we're going to be discussing this and how it can benefit everyone in the sporting realm. So welcome, Dev. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. No, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it's really exciting to be here. And I'll give you a little background around these products. And I mean, it is a very interesting industry, but in a nutshell, it's different natural supplements for health and wellness, for performance, things to help recovery, help improve performance, basically longevity of athletes as well. You know, these are all ingredients that are well recognized by the body, something that supports the body's natural function. And in some cases, you know, like in the realm of cannabis, and when you hear cannabis and mushrooms, people often look at you like, wait, you know, I don't want to trust stuff. But it's actually a really interesting industry. Coming from professional rugby myself, you know, I've used a lot of these natural supplements and seen the benefits. And now I think it's just a really interesting time. I think there's opportunities for athletes to get 2 or 3 more years onto their careers, which can be huge, you know, especially when they're at the peak and they're getting their big contracts.
So let's just dive in. I mean, I know a bit about your history in sports, you know. You would have heard of TRT therapy and all the rest of it, which most gents my age, you know, pushing their 40s are now pushed, you know, that's our alternative. And then when I met you, I started learning more and more about these products. So what made you decide through your rugby career to get involved with the natural herbs instead of looking into TRT? Because you can kind of divulge the differences between the two. The benefits of both platforms and maybe not so much.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it started really with, playing rugby. Any rugby player will know you put your body through war at times, and you end up taking a lot of anti-inflammatories, painkillers, maybe things for sleep. Also on the supplement side, you may be taking creatine, testosterone boosters, or I don't know. There's like quite a big drive around, you know, optimizing the performance, so using different protein shakes or. So the supplements and medication side was something that was like taught to us and we were surrounded by. And then I was exposed to cannabis back in 2012 and it was always like something that I was like, didn't really want to get involved in.
When we're talking about cannabis, are you talking about the natural weed extract or the weed itself?
No, the actual weeds.
The actual weed, okay, wow, geez.
And then,
I
was never really... On that note, your introduction to cannabis was actually smoking.
It was smoking it, yes. Wow, and I mean, back then there was not really extracts and stuff like that. That wasn't what anyone knew, you know. But then essentially, there were some guys in my team that were like, listen, instead of us going out and drinking tonight, we're going to chill and we're going to smoke and we're going to braai and we're going to eat and whatnot. So I was like worried about testing, worried about this and that, and then they were like, don't worry, we've got it all covered. You know, we weren't in season yet. So I smoked and then ended up eating everything and slept well and woke up the next day ready to go, you know. And then
the first time I tried shrooms, I lost myself in a bush and started hugging trees.
That makes me not want to try it, so I'm good for now.
But that's mushrooms. this was just cannabis.
Dave, just before we hop onto your products and stuff, I want to find out more about your background in rugby and when did you actually realize that besides smoking cannabis, that it can actually be a product that you can take versus taking the supplements that probably weren't so good?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, the supplements are really good. I think it was what I was just getting to is that, like, you know, seeing like something that was so taboo and so like wrong in my mind, then like make me feel really good in the next day in training and stuff like that. That was like the first thing that was open my eyes to, wait, is this really a bad thing? And then I started digging into how it works in the body, you know, to not get tested.
Yes.
But then beyond that, I discovered the endocannabinoid system and what was happening overseas. And, you know, the more I dug into it, the more there was just people just reporting benefits and like anecdotal reports of healing from this and sleeping better and no anxiety and like with epilepsy and like as I opened that door, it was just never ending, you know. So it didn't make sense to me how something that was so negative and like perceived as so wrong was showing these benefits globally. And then at the same time in our country, we've got so much land and the resources to grow these natural medicines, you know. So cannabis was really just the gateway to the other natural medicines. It was like the first plant medicine that I had tried that had an immediate effect. And then since then, we got stuck into like a couple of other things, you know. My rugby background, I ended up playing Varsity Cup, and then I went and played a season in France. And when I was there, I actually was struggling with a knee injury for some time. And my best friend said to me, he had gone down this road of like testing veganism and whatnot, and he was like, listen, you must have a look into some of these like different dietary changes that can reduce inflammation. So started digging in there, started like eating a bigger variety of things, different superfood powders and stuff, just trying to reduce inflammation and reduce my knee pain essentially. So then I was exposed to also a lot more of the varieties in food, just, you know, cannabis aside, I wasn't smoking there and whatnot.
You weren't having
cannabis
the
had like a
munchies
break.
anymore.
Yes, like I was exposed to cannabis, and then for a long time, then I wasn't really, you know, like I didn't start the business back then. It was just like it opened the door. Then I understood a lot of different dietary changes, explored different nutrition programs and stuff like that to reduce inflammation. Read about a lot of these things. Like moringa was one of the first things that I started taking.
Okay, now when we talk about moringa,
that's the green capsules there.
Here. These ones here,
and this powder.
Okay, so this is moringa, and then we've got the capsule form
and the powder. So this is just a leaf powder, you know.
So which one works the best between the powder and the capsules?
The powder just doesn't taste very nice, so people prefer capsules.
Can you imagine? I mean, the color already.
Yeah, so the powder is in the capsules there. So, you know, the concept of capsules is like when it comes into any health supplements and medicines, it's just about trying to regulate dose so people can make more controlled decisions. So, you know, on a powder, it's hard to measure and gauge exactly how much you're using. And some people prefer that, but other people who prefer the convenience of just taking a capsule, then we've got it in the capsule form. But moringa's got 92 nutrients, 46 antioxidants. It's got all your omegas. It's got natural anti-inflammatories in it. So that's a superfood on its own, and it's produced in South Africa. It's actually called the miracle tree. Now,
I've actually heard the miracle tree from my grandmother, and I was about to say this is probably what she was taking the whole time, and I didn't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, behind a lot of these herbs, there is also some of these interesting backstories. You know, like moringa, they're called the miracle tree because it grows in areas that there's not a lot of water. It's very harsh conditions, and it's actually got a bulbous root that stores the water, so it allows it to survive in those harsh conditions. And then there's a lot of phytochemicals stored in the leaves that are very beneficial to our health and the health of animals, so like the nutrients and stuff. So it grows in areas where there's maybe exposure to famine and hunger problems and things, and now in these leaves you can get nutrition and antioxidants. So that's where moringa came from, and that was the first product that we actually started trading because cannabis was illegal. So we started exporting that to France and to the UK, and it's something that's locally grown. So that's the exciting thing, is I think we've got potential in this country to grow a lot of these valuable natural medicines that also just support your overall function. But since starting with moringa, that was like maybe 6-7 years ago, and then going along this road, I mean, my immune system hasn't dropped. My energy levels have been high. Like I never run out of energy. I sleep very well. Like everything's just been good. I haven't really had a reason to go to the doctor. Everything is hundreds, you know.
As a guy's point aspect, that's, you know, as you get older, that's a kind of
it's something
you want to maintain.
For sure. And it is an important part of relationships and and people's own self-confidence and a couple of things. You know? So it's definitely, it supports, you know, your natural function. I think when the body is designed to work how it is, and over time we put it through the mill and we really throw everything at it, and then some functions become less. So like tapping into like things like just simply moringa helps with digestion, helps with blood flow.
So this nature's relief, I mean, you started with moringa, right? Now, how did you get from moringa to all of this? I mean, surely, can you take all of this, or is it kind of like specific to every individual that you would, obviously you've got your own doctors and stuff on board and your own company. So how does a person like myself come from, say, I'm on antidepressants or whatever the mood change enhances and all the rest of it, to then, how does it all go about from you stepping into a store and dealing with you?
Yeah, it is a good question because, you know, a lot of people are a bit overwhelmed with the wide offering, you know. And I think the reason we have such a wide offering is because we got into retail when we opened Nature's Relief. My first business is called Grow Green. So that's where we do the manufacturing, the product R&D, and the wholesale and export. And then we opened into retail. And then retail, you know, you got people with such different problems coming in. You know, someone's got a problem with digestion, someone's not sleeping well, someone's got anxiety, depression, they're suffering with pain. So it's not really like a one size fits all. So these things serve different purposes. And that's why we put our services in Nature's. So if people don't know what to do, then come and have a consultation with our doctor, and then he would select. He might put you on, you know, the cordyceps and the lion's mane and the scaletium, or he may just put you on, you know, CBD pain drops or something like that, depending on the outcome that you're looking to achieve.
And now this is not an overnight miracle, obviously. I mean, this is trial and error in the beginning. So different to, I know, coming through burnout. I mean, I was in hospital for like 6 months, you know, and then it was 4 years of recovery, you know, and then I had to go through handfuls of different medication, was trial and error. But this seems to be a different realm, because since I came to meet you, and I've bought the lion's mane and the cordyceps and this wonderful drug here,
the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail, whatever it does, it seems to work really, really well. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what's in here, but I can tell you the lion's mane off the bat is a game changer. That seems to work instantaneously, you know. And I'm probably like dosing higher than I should, because I take like, I don't know, probably 20 to 30 drops sometimes, depending on how I feel. But it really works well, you know.
But you have a 20-hour day, so it's understandable how you need to do that.
So someone like myself, I just don't stop. Unfortunately, you know, in business right now, when you're developing something, you would know. You just don't stop. Plus, you've got your sports and everything else. So on the individuals that are performing and having to push their kind of mental aptitude and their physical aptitude, you know, these products become essential to being able to stay at that level.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think, you know, to answer that, it's like firstly, the two differences between your pharmaceutical approach and your natural approach is that the pharmaceuticals, we never write those off. Like, there's a lot of value to be taken from medicine. We need it, you know, especially if you've got like a severe infection or disease or something. That's like a very good short-term option. They're designed to go in and force a change in the body. So to stop this or start that, so critical, but a short-term solution. Like it goes in and it does the job for you. So it's like an outsource. Now,
and then you become dependent on that.
Yes, because now when you stop doing it, the body's not necessarily doing it on its own. So these rather support the body's natural function and bring the body back to its natural state. And our bodies are incredible. I think we undervalue its ability to heal and perform on its own. So instead of, you know, going to shortcut the process and confuse it a little bit, if we just tap into like its natural function and we give it the raw materials that it needs, it actually does a good job like at healing that. And then, you know, this is more trying to, like, it doesn't seem like it because there's a lot of products, but it's more trying to simplify things, bring the body back to its natural state, and create a space where people aren't dependent on it. So even though you take like the lion's mane and the cordyceps and stuff like that, I really don't believe in dependence. You know, I got irritated when, that's also what fueled it, was when I was like taking like Concerta or Ritalin or something, and then when I didn't have it, I was like, shit, I'm going to be like less productive for the day, you know, and I need my productive days. Life is moving faster and faster, you know.
So now, on the note of being dependent on something, how do you then educate people who want access to your products, but then need to know that, okay, yes, as much as this is natural, it's good for my body because I'm instigating something that is natural in my body. How do you then make sure that it's taken well and there's an education that don't only be dependent on pharmaceuticals? Let's learn more about nature and how it works for us.
Yeah, well, I think we do that with our services. So we do, like at Nature's, we created a model where we do follow-up calls with all of our clients. We want to help them, you know, walk the road to get a better quality of life. But
so you're not just that doctor who says, yeah, take this, good luck.
No, and then come back. Like we want to walk with people along the way, but you know, it's also their responsibility and we can't control that. So like if a lot of people do want a quick fix and they do want to outsource their health to a doctor. So we can't always get what we want, but essentially we'd love to walk with people and say, look, you know, try this, take this, feel how it is, pay attention to your body. Also, these do have a bit of a side benefit of creating more internal, like better internal communication, like your endocannabinoid system, when you're stimulating that. it is helping the body communicate itself, and you get a greater awareness of what's going on in your body. But it depends where people are at in their life. It's also, this is not it when it comes to health. Like, this is like your medication and supplement section. Beyond that, you got to be active. You got to be getting out there and getting properly, sunshine, fresh air, eating properly. Getting some exercise and stuff like that. So if where we're going is that we'd like to incorporate more of these wellness aspects, and we've got an exciting project on the go that you'll hear about soon in Belito, where we're bringing in more of the additional services, like some yoga and gym and whatnot, and like hot and cold therapies. But we really try and encourage people to start here and then start exploring like other wellness things and start understanding, listen to your body, as opposed to just, taking a painkiller is a good example, because your body, you may have a headache because you're dehydrated, but now you take a painkiller, that's like taking the siren away, like your body's trying to alert you, drink water, and it's just saying shut up,
Yes,
you're not
and
drinking,
then most of us do that on an empty stomach as well.
Yeah, you're not drinking the water, so now your body is giving you a signal, and the more we can start listening to that and saying, okay, cool, I just need to sleep better, I just need to change my diet up, or stop punishing myself, or drink some more water, then the body can really heal quickly.
So now, on the note of making products like this accessible, we have people that are from Komashu, we have elderly people that might need products like this. How do we then merge the products with them so that it's accessible to them? And you mentioned the project that you have coming up with the whole yoga, overall wellness. A lot of people from informal settlements do not know of that. So how do you, as then Nature's Relief, plan on maybe having something for them where they can understand it, be a part of it, and then having it be sustainable as well?
Yeah, it's a good question, because there is, when we started this, a lot of the extracts are quite expensive. A lot of the manufacturing is quite expensive. It's still pretty much small scale. The pharmaceuticals have had a good 30 years at scaling up their businesses, so that is like a lot cheaper. But in saying that, moringa is a good option for some of those, some of the, for everyone actually. It's something that's
the guys that
locally.
can't afford the higher end products, it's a good basis, isn't it?
Exactly. But I think one of the things, that's where we're talking to Matt and them, is also some of your online stuff. Everybody's got a phone in their hands nowadays.
Yes.
Even in the informal settlement, stuff like that, guys have got a phone. So we have now channels where we can start educating them. We can get the right information out. They can place orders maybe online. It's difficult to establish the distribution overnight, but we are looking, we can wholesale, we do have the ability to partner with people, open up. We're franchising Nature's Relief, so we're essentially looking for partners and people that want to open up in their region. We have the systems, procedures, everything we can copy paste. If we have the right partners, the right people that are hungry and really keen to get involved. But then, it depends, we can either wholesale to local stockists and stores and pick the right products that meet people's budgets. But I would keep it simple and sort of just start with things like moringa. That's one thing that can solve a bunch of problems, as opposed to the full diverse options, offering.
So I know when 4.5 years ago now, I lost all the dopamine and serotonin in my brain. I had to basically teach myself to read and think and remember again.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-year process to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
So, and the amount of drugs that they put me on and all these different protocols, I found for myself, for the own research, I never divulged into any of these natural products because I thought, doctors, okay, I have no other choice. And when you're in that situation, you go to what's available. And none of this was available in that period of time. None of it was legalized, or nothing was available. So it was a big issue. But I found for myself there was one aspect that did help me. I'm sure we all heard of Wim Hof and all the rest of it, the ice bath treatments and that. That was a massive game changer for me. So I can definitely vouch for that. So I think you, with your events and that your cold hot therapy that you mentioned, that deep breathing cycles and the cold and the cold baths and stuff like that. I'm in the ice every day, And that's with inflammation and just overall cognitive ability and depression, anxiety, and all that. It really does help. But having natural products for me always seems to be the best. I mean, I was a fairly sickly child when I was younger as well. I had lots of allergies and I had a plethora of problems, let's put it that way. And so I was on these green herbs, back in the day. It was a mixture of different products. So it's very similar to the moringa product. And that's, I'm still on it too. It's Green Vibrance is the name of it.
Yes,
so I'm sure you've heard of that.
It's got a blend of all of these things in one.
But it's a good 2,000 Rand at a time. And that last year a good 20 days and then now you drop $2,000 again type of situation.
Yeah.
So how did your products kind of differentiate or kind of get into that space?
I think that it's more our services to a degree. I think what we got to do is look at, in cases, how do we educate people on like those other free mechanisms that you can use, like the cold therapy, the hot heat therapy, the breath work, meditations and stuff. We do have a lot of information on our website and online, but I think channeling some of those things that gives people just a free option to tap into their body. And then beyond that, then I think it's about as we go, the industry is building behind us, so it's not that far away. Like there's a lot of investment going into the growth, into cultivation, into extraction, into manufacturing locally. So in time, I can tell you like there's more and more suppliers available to us. There's more and more cultivation. Like there's a lot happening behind us. We are on the front end, channeling these into the right areas. But I think that these will come down. And what we've done at Nature's was, we want to try and couple like the products and services so that it's not like you're spending 15 minutes with a doctor for 750 Rand, then you're going and spending $2,000 at the pharmacy and then you're back the next month, like we charge 500 Rand for our consultations. We are available in store for people to phone us and ask quick questions and stuff. We're happy to share information and to help. And then over time, the goal is really to get to the solution that makes you not need the product. So you'd maybe only need to use it, at very stressful times, or maybe like, every second or third day, or maybe, if you're going through like a lot of chaos in your life at that time, you may need like a bunch of products, but then in the easier times, like you can stop them. So one of the challenges that we're seeing, like with your pharmaceutical medications, that some people are like, they're stuck on them because when they stop taking them, the body starts
it goes into
out.
Panic mode.
Some of your like benzodiazepines and stuff like that, like you find people having like night terrors and sweats and like pains. And
that's a real thing.
That's just from stopping their medication. Now, when you stop taking one of these, you don't experience that. Like it's just the body can keep functioning a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So you can stop and start it, and hopefully, like as we go, like people use these supplements alongside exercise, breath work, training, and stuff like that, and then you can run your health and wellness for a lot less than people currently are.
So on the note again of the products being very natural, obviously you did mention that once you have taken it, it's not going to be an overnight solution, but it is going to give something that is more relaxing, and instead of depending on then the pharmaceuticals, because we all know with that there's a side effect for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's probably why we always go back to your Panados, your grandpas for whatever quick fix that we need. So
it's all we know, isn't it?
Yes, it's all we know.
Yeah.
So it goes back to then the accessibility and the education about it. And how long do you think it would take for us as a community to understand that going the natural way is an easier route? Because once you stop taking something natural, it's not like your body is going to go into panic.
Not only natural, but probably a hell of a lot safer.
Yes, we're going to go to the doctor. He's going to prescribe everything. And once we stop taking that, then it's a problem, because then I don't have my dose of what is fixing my body for that specific time.
Well, it's a very difficult thing to answer, like in a general sense, because there's a lot of complex, like some things do require ongoing medication and stuff like that, and some things don't. But I think in a general sense, people understanding their bodies and it's funny that we talk about this as a new thing when this has actually been around for centuries.
Exactly. All our ancestors and all the rest. This was a normal thing.
It's just like a period of time that things have changed drastically. Like we've had the influence of different packaging and different preservatives and different dietary things, fast foods coming into play, and then the pharmaceuticals around it, and now we've got technology. So, you know, like our bodies are experiencing a lot of change in consumption, and our minds are overloaded with information. So I think it's just sort of like going back to basics, you know, like trying to, like, even when you were a kid, you know, we were running around, we were playing, we were, you know, active out in the sunshine, getting fresh air and stuff. And then over time, you know, as you go into the working world and stuff, you stop some of those things.
But not only that, I'm noticing even with the youngsters today, I mean, we lived outside. That was what we did. We didn't have TVs or cell phones and any of that stuff. So, I mean, there's a really big market here for the youngsters of today who live on their phones all day and sit inside. So, I mean, how do we get that message across to parents who aren't paying attention to the kids? Because a lot of them just get given cell phones or sort yourself out. So you know? True,
you know, and that is some things we can control and some things we can't.
Yes,
you know, and that technology is growing at a rate. So we do have to address, and we can't force everyone to kick their kids out and go and play outside, because parents are maybe also working a lot more nowadays. So just back to your question on the, like, how do we, you know, solve people's problems? I think that it's like, you know, there is a lot of good information out there. I think it's just trying to get it into the right people's hands, and you know, addressing each of these like diseases and stuff like that with like a holistic solution. So not just looking at here's a medication, you know, saying here's maybe one or two practices outside it. But with these, I mean, they are pretty quick fixes. Like the interesting thing with cannabis and the functional mushrooms is, like, back in the day, you know, well, like Herbal's always been associated with take it for 2 or 3 months and then you'll start seeing light changes, you know, and pharmaceuticals is like, take it and tomorrow you feel better. But now with the functional mushrooms and cannabis, I mean, how quickly did you feel the lion's mane?
Yeah, it was instantaneous. I mean, it's something I can definitely vouch for. I mean, the kind of brain fog that I used to suffer with, I mean, I just wake up and I can just operate now within a couple minutes of having the stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like I have to have it every day either, because it actually does build up in your system over time, which is quite nice. So where I was on, you know, all these other, what the doctors would call herbal nowadays, but it's actually more chemical than anything, I would have to, like, wait an hour, 2 hours before I could actually physically wake up. Now I'm finding I'm a lot more energetic and I can actually just get up out of bed and get straight to work or get to business, you know, which is really, really beneficial.
Yeah, so these are like, they're a bit more effective immediately, and then, you know, the hope is that they, like, a side benefit that we're starting to see, like with some of these, is greater self-awareness and people understanding their bodies a little bit better, you know. And then once they start seeing, like, also the natural things, then you start asking questions like about your own diet and where you're sourcing things. So it's like a bit of a process for people individually. But I think it's exciting. I think that, like, we're seeing that on a small scale that these are very effective, and now it's up to us to try and scale it.
But aren't we seeing a major shift in public? You know, people are looking away from doctors now because they used to be working. You know, so they're looking for alternatives en masse, and it's becoming a huge thing.
And I don't think they're happy.
It's all about going back to the basics. So I think that's what everyone is chasing nowadays, because, like it was mentioned before, it's more expensive going to the doctor for 15 minutes. You pay $7.50, and then you still have a script that you have to go pick up, which could be more than that.
Yeah, and this whole COVID.
Sure.
You know, well, I'm not a big believer in it, but it is to some. But let's put it this way: that opened a lot of minds, you know, to bringing back to basics. Because, well, you all get your injection, but it didn't stop you from getting the virus, you know, in a sense. And the same with medication nowadays. You constantly see people on antibiotics almost every month nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions, you know, like people are wondering how this thing came up, and it was the biggest thing that everyone locked down, and then now it's gone, you know. So, and there's a lot of questions that are coming our way now, you know, like there's interesting documentaries being released, you know, like people are starting to look this direction and look at natural, because I think they are irritated. I mean, we've got people coming into our store all the time that are taking 6 or 7 medications, but they're still coming to our store. You're like, surely you've solved the problem by now. 7 medications, you know, but no,
it doesn't.
The one leads to this and the other leads to that, and then they need an extra this and that and whatnot. And I think people are seeing through that now, and they're starting to, you know, like the anecdotal reports. There's, don't want to go too far down the road on like how the clinical trials and all of that works. It's maybe another conversation, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, which is people saying, I feel better, I took this. So it's not in a trial setting.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that because I already push it on to a lot of my friends and say, you got to really try this stuff.
Yeah, and that's the way that this industry is growing. Like it's just organically people saying, geez, I feel good, I feel much better. You should try this, you should look at it. Even if they're getting like extracts and stuff from like some of the less formal places, you know, so it's spreading via word of mouth, which also shows that it's spreading naturally because people are experiencing the benefits. It's not coming through marketing, through doctors, through, you know, necessarily. It's going through like people feeling better, which is exciting. But I think that like right now, the way that the medical industry is structured is that, you know, it's very scientific, and medications only make it through onto the market once they've got their phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials, and they've proven that it's safe for humans, and that this, and then signed off and stamped and registered, and then it becomes accessible. So that whole process is just really expensive, because who's got the money to conduct all the trials and the research and what. So they say, I mean, there's like 3,000 to 5,000 allopathic medications that still haven't, that have shown really good benefits in trials and whatnot, but then they haven't gone through the admin process, you know, and the supply onto the market. So all that sort of shows is like, I think that, you know, we may be evolving a little bit faster than like the medications are getting through these trial processes and through all the barriers that are up with pharmaceuticals and stuff like that to get through. But now it's also confusing because you can, like they've scheduled THC as a Schedule 6, which is a compound in cannabis. You know, that's what makes you high.
Yes, yeah.
But now that your Schedule 6s are like your other opioid medications. So because they've made that the schedule, that's how you've got to treat it in commercial trade. But now they've also said, but you're legal to grow it at home. So you can grow your own Schedule 6 in your garden, but you can't buy it, you know. So it's like we're in a very interesting time while it's all being defined, you know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there is a lot of people and a lot of anecdotal reports where people are saying that they have got the benefits, you know.
So, Dev, we've been speaking a lot of the medical terms and your natural products. I want us to take the conversation back a bit and relate it more to the athlete.
Yes,
you know, how does the conversation go if you meet today a rugby player or a boxer, a netball player? How do you then speak to them about venturing into natural products? Because I think one of the misconceptions that we have today is if we go back into training, we have to take things like creatine, we have to take whey every day. So how can we base that and make it more of a natural conversation to take natural products?
Yeah.
Well, basically, also the biggest thing in sports for men and women, you know, estrogen, testosterone play a huge role in terms of performance across, you know. So how do these products accentuate that? You know, can they replace TRT long term? Not really.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there a space for it to enhance? You know, you need to run us down through these products, you know, and we don't have to go through all of them, but I think discussing the ones that you really think could be a game changer. I know just being on cordyceps and lion mane is a big game changer, without a doubt, and I live on a daily basis. But maybe you could just dive deeper into that,
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the way we can simplify that is just onto yours first on the TRT and the testosterone side, and then yours just on the athletes. Because on the testosterone side, there is some very interesting natural supplements coming into the market. Like you see, like Tongat Ali, testosterone, Fadoja extract. Some of these things that they've shown in theory that they have the ability to, you know, free up more testosterone in the body, like help the body produce more test. So also supporting again the body's natural function in producing those hormones. You also get interesting hormone regulators and stuff, or compounds that you find in plants that regulate and just balance out the hormone levels. So but your hormones are also impacted by things like stress, you know. So
and your diet as well.
And your diet and stuff. So just on stress and burnout.
They say the brain is the gut, isn't it?
The gut is your second brain. So like, but on the stress factor, that's where a lot of people struggle with burnout. And you know, we're trying to get 18-hour days in, or like life is going so fast, but like there's a lot of stress and pressure and whatnot, so that can impact testosterone. So you can look at these things as how do you boost it and whatnot on this side, but then how do you allow the body from like stop or slow the body's degrading process down, you know, or like reduce it, like reduce stress so that you can keep your current test that you've got.
Yes.
So we then, back to the athlete side, we've simplified most of our solutions into pain, inflammation, sleep, stress, anxiety, focus and concentration, and then
Energy as well.
Yeah. So within those 5, I mean, like the basics of any athlete is like you want to be able to perform during the day, or you want to be able to perform, and then you want to be able to recover. And it's like a balance between the two. You know, you can't just go, perform and not apply anything to the recovery, you know. So all athletes are going to be performing and then recovering. So on the performance side, that's where we've got like some of our nootropics, more for like mental energy, mental clarity, memory, cognitive function. That's like your lion's mane. That's like some of your, even like the CBD can be used to a degree, because it takes the edge off, so you're feeling like a little bit less stress, so you can maybe focus a bit more. It's not chaos going on in your mind. Like our Nootropic Mind, that one is a fantastic product. That's actually, it's one of our first unique ones that we created about 4 years ago. That's got a combination between CBD, lion's mane, and cacao. So now lion's mane and cacao is like got theobromine in it, which is a central nervous system stimulant, and then your lion's mane helps the body produce more nerve growth factor, so it helps with like repair of your connective tissue around your nervous system and in your brain. So those two are energetic and more for focus, concentration. And then there's just a CBD isolate, so CBD, just a pure CBD compound in there, so no THC. It doesn't make you high at all. That's just it's an natural anti-inflammatory, and then it also just gives like a slightly calming effect. So there we've put together a focus product for like people that want more focus and more like mental energy, but with side benefits of like anti-inflammatory, neuroprotective, which is the lion's mane and stuff like that. And it's water soluble. So that would fall within like that focus category. So for people like when an athlete's about to start training, or like they want to, like they need to concentrate, like there's always decisions to be made in all sports and stuff. You've got to be clear, you've got to be on point. And then physically you've got to be strong. We'd look at like those categories, so the focus and energy, like look at cordyceps mushroom, we'd look at the lion's mane mushroom, we'd even look at so like things that boost energy, and then things that like reduce the stress and keep the mood. So
like after game, you have pre-game and after game.
Yes, and then your post-game, you look at like the CBD sports, that's a natural anti-inflammatory. You'd look at like moringa, this has got great nutritional capabilities, you know, that you add into your protein shake, gives you all your nutrients, gives you all your, like also anti-inflammatory, gives you antioxidants, helps with blood flow. So you'd add a little bit of that in. And then, I mean, there's some interesting things around pain. Kratom is actually a natural extract a natural product that comes in from Malaysia, and Kratom works on your opioid system. So there's a lot of controversy around it, but when players are taking 3 or 4 Tramasets or something like that, like proper opioids, every day or every week or whatever, like the Kratom poses a great option for them to take something that works on the opioid system, but is less of a negative impact on the gut. So then on the other end, on the recovery side, you've also got the CBD sleep. So like if guys are struggling with sleep due to pain, or just, I don't know, people just maybe busy mind or something like that, then sleep is something that we solve really easily, actually.
We can definitely get my old man on that. He's constantly moaning that he can't sleep. That's a big issue.
And that's where your brain recovers. That's where your inflammation comes down. Like sleep is a critical component to like being able to get started the next day.
Well,
So we'd actually normally start with sleep, you know, like how you're sleeping. Because if that's where you want to start, get the sleep right, you're at least starting on the right foot the next day. Then we'd have a look at, cool, what do you need from energy? Do you have enough energy, focus during the day? And then we'd also look at, you know, what's bringing down your energy, your mood, are you stressed? Are you anxious? Are you depressed? You know, and then handling that headspace with some of the other things like scaletium, for example. Scaletium is an indigenous herb, comes from South Africa. It works like a natural SSRI, which is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor.
That's what they give us in hospitals.
Yeah, in hospitals.
That's exactly what they give us.
And it grows out of our soil. So it's right there.
That's interesting.
And it gives you a mood, and it gives you a mood upliftment. Like the Elevate capsules here, that's scaletium and ashwagandha. those two work very well for like just mood.
Let me grab them. Are you talking about these two?
No, that's the Kratom, that's the Elevate one.
This is the Elevate,
Yeah. So that one has been a phenomenal product. Like, it just gives you a bit of a mood upliftment, stuff like that. And it's amazing, you know, for any athlete, your mind and your body like are connected.
They need to be in sync.
Yes, like you can be as strong as you want, but if you're feeling like if you don't have control of your headspace and you're going down all the wrong rabbit holes and you're thinking you know you're not good enough and what, your energy, your body's going to follow, and your energy is going to be low, and this and that. So, you, like a clear mind, a positive mindset, a motivational mindset, really contributes to your physical body, then your physiology,
how you
following
react.
suit.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's the craziest thing, and everybody has experienced it. But tell me, when you're training and you're dead tired, okay, you think you're broken, but you're now listening to music or something, and the best part of the song comes on.
And
Now all of a sudden you feel 100% fresh. You know what I mean? Like, you just go. Like, why is that? That's because something, I don't know, in the mind has just, I mean, how can you go from feeling absolutely dead to fresh within a split second, and get that energy? And that's the power of our mind, like our headspace. So, like, addressing things like stress and anxiety and depression can only also support our physiological response and our physiological function.
Yeah, that flight or fight response while you're taking on tasks.
Exactly.
So I'm hearing a lot of THC and CBD in the products, and the taboo of it in our community is that, I'm going to get high. Right? And not a lot of people want the high or the munchies when it comes to THC or CBD. So how do you then change the narrative, seeing that your products have THC or CBD? How do you then tell a consumer of that you're not going to get high in the sense that you think, but it's actually a beneficial type of feeling that is going to make you, holistically well and change your body's natural instinct?
Yeah. So I think that really comes down to us understanding and knowing exactly what's in our product. So the exciting thing is that there's a lot of investment going into cultivation, into extraction, into manufacturing. And we have the equipment and the extraction capabilities, for example, to take a raw material of cannabis and extract it. And then they'll put it through, in some extraction methods, it's they influence the pressure and the temperature, and CBD and THC separate, they react at different temperatures. So maybe THC rises to the top in a certain temperature or pressure. So you can actually remove the THC out of certain things. You can isolate compounds. So for us, we have the ability to buy pure CBD or THC extracts, or, different ones. We get a certificate of analysis. There's lab analysis going on so we can see what's in it. And then that allows us to calculate what goes into each product, so that we have the confidence when a client comes in, we can say, this won't make you high. We know it doesn't just come from Johnny around the corner. He sold us a story that there's no
I've been down that road. I think a few of my family members as well, we've tried this. And we'll just take these drops and you just don't sleep for 3 days, or whatever the case is. It's terrible. Yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion at the moment around it, and I think that's what we're trying to solve, is that people aren't sure. Like, first they said THC, everyone knows THC makes you high. In cannabis you get over 100 types of cannabinoids. The main ones that everybody knows about are CBD and THC. There is a lot of very valuable ones, but those will come into products as we go. But the main things are around CBD and THC, because CBD doesn't make you high, but it does have some psychoactive properties that are calming, like anti-stress, but you can focus on it, you can work during the day. THC attaches to more receptors. Okay, wait, if you give me should I just tell you about the endocannabinoid system? Yeah. So we've got a system in our body called the endocannabinoid system. So it's a network of receptors on a cellular level and all around our body, on our organs, in our brain. And you get two main types of receptors. You get CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors. Now, our body produces endogenous cannabinoids. Like, one example is anandamide, which is what we produce, and that's very similar to THC. So those endocannabinoids go and attach to receptors, and they work on the system to keep trying to bring the body back to its natural state. So that system is a neuromodulator. It's like trying to constantly regulate the body. So even without touching cannabis, we've got these endocannabinoids. Now, the cannabis plant produces phytocannabinoids, and there's other plants that also produce phytocannabinoids, but cannabis has the highest abundance. And now, when the THC, for example, attaches to more of your CB1 receptors, which are located around your central nervous system in your brain. That's why you get a bit of a high. And that high is actually like a sedative effect or like an analgesic effect.
Away from you almost.
Or it's like a sleep. It's giving you like a sedative, like a calming, your central nervous system down, or like relieving pain from the central nervous system. So it's like smoking a painkiller, if in simple terms. Like that's what the high is, you know. And then the CBD attaches to other receptors, more the CB2 receptors, or it influences the receptors slightly differently. So then that's why you're not getting that high from CBD. But now when because of the high that you get from CBD, they made it a Schedule 6. So CBD in the market THC in the market is regulated. Then they've said, cool, you're allowed to make CBD as a Schedule 4 unless you have in a bottle under 600 milligrams, which equates to 20 milligrams per day dose. If it falls within those in those requirements, then there's an exclusion, so that becomes Schedule 0. So if your product has 600 milligrams of CBD in it maximum, and you're only recommending 20 milligrams a day, you can legally sell it as a Schedule 0. Now, schedules in medicine depend on who can trade it. So Schedule 6, you'd need a prescription from a doctor. Schedule 0, you can buy it off the counter. So that's the difference. And now, because they made CBD legal and and THC highly regulated, with the lack of policing in the country, the people were making their own extracts from THC and then just putting a CBD label on it. So now you're taking a CBD product that you think is CBD, but then it's got THC in it, and it actually makes you high.
And then it's also doing something
so that's
totally
clearly
different.
something that has happened to me in the past.
So
Matt, you've had a lot happening to you. What are we missing out on?
I've been very experimental throughout the years. Too experimental, I could say. But, when you're in a situation, you're desperate to find your way out of it. So whatever you can and whatever you hear at that point in time, you can only do so much research, and it's very limited at the moment. Well, it's growing more now, but 4 or 5 years ago, it was so limited to find information on these products. So, you just took a chance and hope for the best, and then you just
trust the people. There are a lot of good people, like not to shoot down all the people that are making their own informal products, because I also don't believe in everything having to be commercialized. I just believe in it for safety purposes, so that people can make calculated decisions and know what they're taking.
I agree.
But some people also don't mind that. They some people prefer like an organic veg that's been grown in their own garden as opposed to going to Pick and Pay or whatever.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
So like people can make their own decisions, but I just think that it's been a problem because it's created a lot of confusion, and now people have become scared of CBD because they think it makes them high, and CBD doesn't make you high. It's like it can be used during the day. But it's just the lack of regulation that's caused that problem. But where we are is that's why we sort of started to say, look, guys, this is CBD. We know it's got no THC in it. This one contains some CBD. Some THC. This one contains this. This one contains that, so that people can decide, okay, cool. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I should take. It's nighttime. I can afford to take THC, and because it is going to affect your mind space and maybe your short-term memory a little bit, like while you're feeling the effects of it, and it's going to make you feel tired, or
with
something
all
like
in
that.
reason, depending on how much you're taking, isn't it?
And dose is critical. There's so many stories, and I'm sure everyone's got a story here of someone taking too much of an extract and not having a good experience.
We saw that the evening, so we got a good understanding. Only take so much, brother. Nah, I'll be fine.
Okay. Disclaimer. Silent.
So Dave, just to pick at your brain a bit, so we know that if I, let's say, have a friend and I'm taking a painkiller and it has a certain effect on me and I give it to Matt, it probably won't affect him the same way. Or if he has a headache, that painkiller is working for me, but it's not working for him. Do we see a trend with your products when there's 4 different people in the room and they're all working towards the same thing, are they going to get the same effects from your product?
So in a lot of cases, yes. And then there are some outliers. So and it kind of depends on the product, but in a general sense, we get very good and consistent results. Like when you get, we focus on getting the right product, right dose at the right time. So, you want to be taking the right thing for you at the right time. There is variance in dose. So like you may not take the same amount of it. You may take the same product, but you may take 20 drops, you may take 10. And that may be because of various things, previous experience of different medications, your lifestyle, your diet, your maybe people's weight and their size, you know what I mean? So there's those slight variances, but in a general sense, like if they need something for sleep, we wouldn't put them on 2 different things for sleep. We put them on the CBD sleep drops.
You start one place and go from there.
Yeah, so we start them on like 10 drops and then we'd adjust it. So, I mean, on the natural side, it is slightly less calculated than your pharmaceuticals. So,
but even then, with from that pharmaceutical side of things, I mean, we start you here at the highest dose and then we work it down. So I mean it's probably, and from my experience, it's even less calculated, because it's like, well, you start with this neuro uptake inhibitor. If that doesn't work for you, let me know in 2 weeks time. That's why I was there for 6 months, because it was like trial and error. Okay, that doesn't work for you, so we take you off that. Let's try this one, let's see how you feel in 2 weeks time. Okay, that one sort of works. Then they change it up again, so it's a continual thing. So I think it's no different in both worlds, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's a couple different factors, but just to keep it simple, I mean, it's like we'd start people at 10 drops. We take it on us we do follow-up calls, and we do a lot of like research and feedback and findings, and we're trying to, standardize it as best as possible, so now we'll say like, cool, start at 10 drops. We also know that if you're taking 10 drops of the product, it's going to last you 60 servings. And then we can sort of gauge if it's a monthly supply or weekly supply or stuff like that, so people can budget and allocate their funds and stuff. But we'd start them on 10 drops. That's just then also why we do the follow-up calls. We check, when are you taking the 10 drops? We always want to know how much are you taking of what product for what condition, when are you taking it, and what's the response you're getting. And then we'd adjust it maybe slightly, but it's not an exact science, like the body...
everyone reacts differently.
Yeah, everyone reacts a little bit different. Yes, we have very similar bodies, but like we're a combination of our experiences, our diet, our activity and stuff like that. So we just need to work with them a little bit, but then also try and encourage them to pay attention and see, is this working for me? Do I need to take more? Do I need to take less? And then they can carry on and make their own decisions,
So on the note of then seeing that some of your clients do have a consistent show of your products working, would you say that it's solely also dependent rather on the fact that it's natural products? It's the body's natural response to actually have a similar response to someone else?
Can you just repeat that a little bit? I just misunderstood the question.
Sorry about that.
From a sports science background.
Yes, it's a lot. Yeah. So what I'm basically saying is the fact that your products are natural creating that consistent response in your clients?
Okay. No, like with them being natural, it's more tapping into the body's natural function. So if you consider that, people's endocannabinoid system may be in a different state, so we do have a bit of variance there, where some people are taking like a small amount of CBD and getting like great results. For this, some people take a small amount of CBD and feel nothing. So there is also that element, because of our endocannabinoid system and meeting people where they're at. So we'll need to sort of just get them onto the right dose, the right extract. But it's not a one size fits all necessarily, and then, so in some cases we get very quick results, very good. Sometimes we need to put them onto something a little bit stronger, or assess further things, are they taking anything else, or are they doing any...
and I've noticed in the game, a lot of guys won't divulge in the truth of what they actually have been on and what they've been taking. So it can get a bit tricky with that as well,
Yeah, definitely.
So now take us through your consultation process. Like, what is it that you speak about to a person who's seeking to know more about your products in order to use them? Like, I'm Moho, I'm coming to Nature's Relief, I'm struggling to sleep, but I still want to perform, I still want to come and have a good show, I still want to go to work and be productive in the office after looking at the laptop for like 8 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So how do I then get to you, and what is the conversation like in terms of introducing me to the products and how they work?
Yeah, so I think firstly we want to understand more about you. You know, in order to meet you where we're at, we need to understand where that is. So we need to see there. We ask a bunch of questions around your medical history. You know, get a view of, you know, what history you've got, if you have been taking any medications, had any surgeries, if you've got any complications, if there's anything that we need to be aware about, so that, you know, we just take any precautions that we need to. And then we'd also assess, you know, your health goals. We've brought in a couple of new you know, measuring tools and stuff like that. Like, we can take your blood pressure and check your sugar levels. And then we've got a QMRS machine, I think it is, quantum resonance machine, so QRMS, I think, and that's something that we use as just a reference. It's a very holistic sort of machine. It measures like your frequencies and your energies in the body.
So what your homeopaths would use, I've seen.
So we're testing that out. It's actually been very interesting, you know, it's not something that is going to give you a clear like diagnosis. It just it pumps out like a 70-page report. So it depends on what you come in there for. If you come in there like as a cancer patient that's going through multiple treatments and stuff, then, you know, it would be a very much medically orientated conversation. If you're coming in as an athlete and everything else is pretty good, and you're just looking to now increase your productivity and stuff like that, you'll get better sleep, then it's a slightly different conversation, you know. But we mainly deal with healthcare, so people that are struggling really, like on a lot of medications or undergoing treatment and surgeries and stuff. Wellness, which is more your people that are looking for daily management, managing their stress, anxiety. They're okay, they're coping, but they just need a bit of a help, you know. And then you have your performance side, where people are looking to get extra, you know, like be firing at 120%, you know.
I know the extra 2 hours that you've given me, you know, that I've tried, that definitely does work. It's like a pre-workout in a sense. It does work really, really well.
Yeah, I want to have 15-hour to 18-hour days, you know. So I think that's also, you know, there's a lot of exciting things to do. And then we've got the recreational side, you know, that is an element to this industry and to this business. And I think that there we just want people to be able to have fun and, you know, not damage their body in the process. So, but we'll get into that just now, because that just on your consultation side, so we take the medical history. Our doctors are trained to do to ask all the right questions. I mean, you can get so much information, like an understanding about a person's current situation just from, you know, those questions. And then from there, we'd then recommend a certain range of products. We'd see, you know, what fits within and out of their budget. We'd recommend it to them, and then we would give them a breakdown of how to use them when, you know, if they are taking any medications, we need to assess that. There's a very low risk of interaction with the majority of these, but in some cases, if people are taking blood thinners or if they're taking blood pressure medication, we need to be aware, because there's an enzyme in the liver, for example, that metabolizes both the medication and CBD. So it can prolong the half-life of your like blood pressure medication. So an example of that is like the allopathic doctor may have recommended they take one tablet in the morning, one tablet in the afternoon. Now we add CBD at the same time, and it prolongs the effect of that blood pressure tablet. And when they take it in the afternoon, they double the dose, you know, because it's still effective. Right. So then we just guide them to take it 2 hours before, 2 hours after, or, you know, in a way that they don't clash. And then it's just literally about, you know, a morning routine, an afternoon routine, and a night routine. Not always everyone has 3, you know. They may just take something in the morning, like some moringa, or they may take the drops in the morning, or the sleep stuff in the evenings, or if they need something during the day. And then we'd give them that recommendation. And then any further information, we've got a load of articles, research articles, like that we've either written or we've sourced from like the credible universities and stuff like that we can send. We upload, I think we've got like over 200 blogs that we've written and stuff like that. So we refer people to our website. We say, have a look there. Our website is like a lot of information.
You really think those youngsters know how to read?
No, that's why we're here
That's why
on the
there's TikTok
podcast.
and Instagram these days.
All right, we're just gonna before we take a quick break, and then we'll continue on to the fun stuff. You can run us through this products. I just have one question. How does this fit into, say, like my daughter who's 7? Can these type of products be given to the youngsters? How does it all, and elderly? How does it all fit in there?
Definitely. I think that I wouldn't recommend giving THC, to kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, about the concentration side of stuff.
Yeah, it's more the focus stuff. So, yes, definitely. They are safe to be used with kids. I think it's just about the right dose, getting them on the right dose. Like that Nootropic Mind one that I was telling you about that has the lion's mane CBD. We just have been quite conservative in our nature, like at Nature's Relief, with our doctor and stuff like that. Like we just don't want it. We want to make sure that we get things right, and maybe we've been a little bit overly conservative, but because if I look at kids, we like,
the game right now.
we just want to be super calculated of how many drops and whatnot. But then, I mean, honestly, the doctors are just saying, you get a Ritalin.
Well, this is exactly why I brought the thing up.
So,
the first school to my daughter, the first week you need Ritalin. So I was like, I'll go to another school because you just don't want to take care of the kid. You're just too damn lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, every kid's hyperactive. I was super hyperactive. Doesn't mean the kid's retarded, Has concentration issues.
So they're throwing them on it. So like we've relaxed a little bit because these are compounds that are produced in the body. They're natural, but they can take them. And we would just look to assess them, put them on the right dose of stuff that supports their long-term function. But it's very low risk. It's more supporting the natural function of the body.
Brilliant. So let's have a break there, and then we'll just go get some water and we can carry on. That woke me up. Well, welcome back. We're going to quickly give the floor to Dev, and he's going to run us through some variety of the products he's got you in the category. So Dev, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot here. So we were just saying let's sort of simplify it. So, just for the athletes, I think that's probably the easiest way to orientate these because no matter if you're an athlete or not, it's performance and recovery. So
and just being active overall.
Just being active, having a good quality of life, So I think if we just start off with the healthcare side, the healthcare, one of the biggest problems that we faced with is inflammation due to our changes in diets and a lot of stress and stuff like that. So CBD is a natural anti-inflammatory. And then we've got a range of CBD products. This is our CBD Calm. So each of our CBD products don't contain THC at all. So they've got 600 milligrams of CBD in it, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. But then beyond that, we've added in a couple of other natural terpenes and ingredients that are more specific for calming and anxiety. So this is something that people can take as a natural anti-inflammatory, but also for anxiety. We have our sports one. Sorry, that's the side. So they're similar concept, 600 milligrams CBD, just some additional ingredients for performance. And then CBD also helps with sleep. So it's something that, these things are sometimes difficult because
always
they don't
goes
just do
hand in
one
hand.
thing, they do a couple of things. So that I would look at from the recovery side. Then if we have a look at the Nootropic Mind, which is, I think, this one. Yes, this is our flagship product. So this is going to help with focus, mental clarity, memory. It's a water-soluble product, so it's got a combination of lion's mane, CBD, and cacao. You add a few drops into your water in the morning or into your coffee. It works very well with coffee, so you drink it in the morning and you're awake and alert for a good few hours after that. Then if we look at the mood and the anxiety side, that's where we've got Scaletium. So there we've got a combination between the mushrooms and the cannabis, right? This is just a cannabis extract product. And then we've got Scaletium. So Scaletium is more for your mood, your anxiety, just overall friendliness to people.
That can work for some of the butcher rugby players.
Yes, so your friends may want you to have this as well. But just to handle stress and stuff.
Can we give that to our wives?
Definitely. We have a lot of people that buy it for their wives and husbands because they're irritated. And then this Holy Grail also, I mean, that it would fall in the same category as the nootropic mind drops, also for focus, concentration, managing your headspace. Then from the nutritional aspect, we've got the moringa. So this is something that people can take on a daily basis. Also very good for the immune system. It's got all your nutrients, antioxidants, stuff, helps to cleanse the blood, helps to regulate blood sugar. So for people that struggle with diabetes, moringa is a very good supplement.
Well, sugar's in everything nowadays, so that's a good bonus, eh?
Yeah, moringa, I would say everybody should just take every day, a little bit. It's like a little thing that'll make multiple differences, you know. And then you've got your functional mushrooms. These are just the mushrooms on their own. So this is cordyceps. People have probably heard about this if they've been exposed to this realm before, but a lot of athletes are looking to take cordyceps because it actually, it helps. So first, all the mushrooms contain something called beta-glucans, which are immunomodulators. So they're all good for your immune system. Then cordyceps contains things like cordycepin, which helps the body produce more ATP, which is your primary source of energy. It's called adenosine triphosphate. So in your mitochondria, in your cells, that's where the ATP is produced, and that's what cordyceps helps to boost. So also good for oxygen utilization. So again, all the mushrooms here are associated with good immune function. And then you've got like the cordyceps for energy, lion's mane for focus, turkey tail for immune system, more immunity and things like that. Then you have kratom, which is this is the controversial one I was telling you about just because of its effect on the opioid system. But it's a natural painkiller. It's also, this one is kratom energy. So you get 56 strains of kratom. Some of the red strain is actually the best for pain. This is a good one for anxiety. The white is good for focus and more energy. I actually take that before rugby. Well, I take a couple of these things before rugby. And after. And then, so that's sort of like the healthcare side. You'd look at like sleep, which is the CBD, your wellness, your anxiety, your stress. You'd look at you can look at CBD or scletium. For the performance side, you'd look at like focus supplements, energy supplements, and then for your sleep and anti-inflammatory purposes. And then we have this guy. This is a Zoa. This is a brand owned by somebody, a partner of ours called Jess Van Vuren. She started this company basically because she...
Just hold that up a bit higher.
Yes, she doesn't enjoy drinking that much. She doesn't like being out of control, but also wants mood lift, like energy, be in the vibe, you know. So she was mixing a lot of our products individually into a bottle and drinking it herself. And then she approached us and said, can we do something? So we said, yeah, definitely. So this is a concept where it's an alcohol alternative. So people can drink it. You put a single shot of 25 mils or a double shot of 50 mils with some sparkling water. This is an original, so it doesn't have a flavor. It tastes like a iced tea in a way.
Brilliant! So it actually doesn't taste like grass and all the rest of it.
No, it tastes good.
When we start talking natural, he's like, I'm going to drink fish.
That's herbal. Yeah. So this contains, it's got lion's mane in it, it's got cordyceps in it. So we've mentioned lion's mane for that mental clarity, cordyceps for the energy. It's got scletium in it, which is that mood enhancer. And then it's also got something called guayusa, which is a tea that's found in the Amazon. That's got some natural caffeine and a natural...
wow, okay. So this doesn't actually get you. This doesn't actually get you drunk in any form of the manner.
No, it doesn't get you drunk at all. It just gives you. We're trying to mimic the same effects of. I mean, when you're drunk, you like confident. You get in a good mood. You've got energy. You want to carry on. You know. So, how do we achieve that with these natural extracts? But then the benefit is that you've got like side benefits, like lion's mane is good for the brain and your brain function. Cordyceps it's good for the immune system. So like you can have a good party and wake up feeling better for it, as opposed to, we all know the hangover. So
yeah, I do.
So that we've done in some different flavors. This is an example. This is lime and ginger. So we've got, this has actually been the most popular one.
I think I'll hit that up.
Yeah, the lime and ginger. And then we also do them in smaller shots. This is so people can try it, test it. They can buy it. These are 60 Rand. And then people have a go before, going for a bigger bottle. And then I've got all 4 flavors here. I think we've got blueberry and vanilla. We've got lime and ginger, and then we've got elderflower buchu, which is...
That's an interesting name. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, elderflower, elderflower and buchu. Those are just flavors, so they all contain the same properties. They're just different flavors, and that we've got it in just the concentrate form at the moment, but we're gonna be doing it into ready to drinks as well, into some cans and stuff. That's been really received well. I think there's also kind of like seems to be a bit of a trend towards not drinking, I think people love drinking because of what it gives you, like that confidence and that all those effects, but everybody hates a hangover. And also, I mean, it's not sustainable to drink every day and to drink all the time.
No, absolutely. Like
and then we've got these little shots. So we've got our nootropic range, which is you just saw the nootropic mind. We've got the nootropic calm, and then the nootropic energy, which are the combinations between CBD and lion's mane, CBD and cordyceps, CBD and reishi mushroom. So that's specifically for focus.
And reishi is a powerful thing for the cancer patients and that.
Yeah, reishi's been used for centuries. It's like good for blood flow. It's good for various things. It's also, there's just a whole lot of goodness in like the compounds that you find in like the functional mushrooms, in like CBD, and we're lucky where we at the time now where we can play around. They work very well in like a synergy together. So now we're trying to focus them for particular reasons so that it's easy for people to use it and essentially benefit from it.
Oh, thanks, Dev. Before we end, I think Mo's got one question she'd like to spin your way.
So I'm going to throw you under the bus a bit.
Yes.
So I know you're interested in rugby, you play rugby, you've been in the rugby industry, so rugby is not an option for you. So I'm going to give you two options, which is netball and football. And if you have any athlete between those two that you would like to represent your brand one day. Like be an ambassador between football and netball.
Between football and netball. Well, I mean, I think both would be great because, I mean, they're different. And like, I mean, there is women's football, so I don't want to write women out of the football, but generally less men play netball, so I would expect a woman from netball and a man from
That's perfect,
from football. And I think those two would serve, we'd be able to deal with them differently, but I love football. I used to play soccer growing up. Actually, I would have played soccer.
We have an all-rounder. We literally have an all-rounder. Yeah. So, who in football would you, even if it's someone international?
Anyone. Sure. Erling Haaland.
Yes,
just
that's
exceeding
the one.
everything. His mentality is something else. But, I also think that, I don't know if I'd change a winning formula. That guy is,
whatever he's on,
he's killing it. So,
what herbs on.
But I don't support City, so that probably,
that's such a
maybe I'll give him something that slows him down a bit.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And where can we find you?
So we've got two stores. We've got two physical stores. One is in Umhlanga in the village, in the main parking lot there next to the Umhlanga Builders. That's across the road from Mary and Joe. A lot of people do struggle to find it. So, I mean, we recommend either getting hold of us on our social media platform, Nature's Relief SA, and then there's an underscore. It's also sometimes difficult to find it there.
We'll have the website up and running.
We'll get that sorted. But www.naturesrelief.co.za, that's our website. You can get all products online there. And then our Joburg store is in the Trinity Centre. That's near, or just off Bayes Nordia, in Rand Park Ridge.
Nice.
And then, the best way is just to contact us direct on the website or on socials if you can't find us. Otherwise, pop into one of our stores there.
Brilliant.
Great.
Right, Dev, really want to thank you for your time. That was very interesting. I look forward to keeping these products and testing them all out free of charge. I appreciate it. Before we end, we've got a Durban Wellness Weekend coming up. Dev will be at from the 1st to the 3rd September. It's going to be really cool. It's an event based around all natural products, whether you're into the THC side, the CBD side, the holistic healing and all the rest. It's going to be a really fundamental change and shift in the mindset of what's going on. And we will have an episode around that, encompassing that, coming up soon. So please do give us a follow up on this channel on YouTube. Like us, follow us, subscribe, and we'll get you some more information. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Well done.